Hello and welcome to Planet 40k. Today I thought we'd check out the Aggressors from the Space Marine Codex. So quite a popular unit for a lot of Space Marine players, regardless of the chapter you're using. They come in at 6 power for a unit of 3 Aggressors, and if you want to go up to 6 models then it's going to cost you 12 power. Alternatively, you can play points which are going to be 40 points a model. So these guys come with a core keyword which, as you know, is huge for synergizing with HQ buffs, such as getting to reroll hits, etc. These guys can also fit into any of your typical Space Marine chapters, which we'll touch upon later in the video. As for other keywords of note, they've also got the infantry keyword, so they'll be gaining those infantry benefits. So the Aggressors come with the following stat line. They've got a movement of 5 inch, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, wounds 3, attacks 3, leadership 7 and a 3+ save. So within the unit, one of the models will be an Aggressor Sergeant who will have an extra attack and an extra point of leadership. So whilst he is alive within the unit, they'll be gaining a leadership value of 8. So quite typical stats really. Those 3 wounds are pretty handy though. Looking into their abilities, they've got the Marine standard of having Angels of Death, which is an umbrella of 4 different rules merged into one. So the 4 rules are, and thou shalt know no fear, which is an ability to not take any modifiers to combat attrition tests. Probably won't be a factor for your Aggressors. Bolt of Discipline, which affects how you use rapid fire weapons. Aggressors don't actually carry any rapid fire weapons here, so we'll skip over that. They've then got Shock Assault, which is where if your Aggressor were charged or heroically intervened, then each model within the unit will gain an additional attack. Then finally, Combat Doctrines, which is a buff to your armor penetration of all your weapons. So each battle round gives you a different buff for certain weapons. So battle round 1, it only applies to heavy weapons and grenades. Battle round 2, it goes on all rapid fire and assault weapons. Battle round 3, you've got the option of keeping it the same as round 2 or changing it to pistols and melee weapons. Then on battle rounds 4 and 5, it will change to the pistols and the melee weapons. So that's the Angels of Death abilities. They've got one other ability called Combat Squads, which simply allows your max size unit to split into 2 halves just before you deploy them. So this will aid with your restrictions for detachments when building your lists. So for example, if you take 6 Aggressors, that'll only take 1 slot from your elite battlefield roles. Then if you're playing a patrol detachment, you can only have a max of 2 elite units. So by taking this unit and splitting them pre-deployment, it will allow you to take an additional elite option within the army. It's also good tactically if you've got the choice of keeping them in a huge 6-man unit, which will be a really tough to get rid of unit, or once you've seen your opponent's list, you may feel like splitting them into 2 will be more beneficial. So going on to their weapon loadout, so they come stocked with 2 Flamestorm Gauntlets. So the weapon is a ranged weapon as well as a melee weapon. So firstly, the range part of the weapon is a 12-inch range assault D6, strength 4, no AP and single damage. And each time you attack with this weapon you auto hit. So they've got 2 of those, bear in mind. Not much AP or damage to write home about here, but the fact that they auto hit and you've got 2 of them is a pretty solid option for clearing away screens and whatnot. It's also very handy for your Overwatch too, because you're not going to require 6s to hit because you auto hit. The melee variant is strength times 2, making it strength 8, minus 3 AP and 2 damage. However, each time you attack with this weapon, it's going to be a -1 to hit. So yeah, that -1 to hit isn't the best, but strength 8 is a key number here, as it not only wounds most vehicles on a 3, due to most vehicles having a toughness 6 or a toughness 7, but it also squashes infantry models that are toughness 4 or below, as you'll be wounding them on 2s. 3 attack space is also pretty good when you include Shock Assault, so you'll be gaining an additional attack, bringing that up to 4, and each one at strength 8 is nasty. So the -3 as well is pretty perfect, and 2 damage a pop will really start removing models from the board. If you wish to replace the Flamestorm Gauntlets, there is an option to exchange them both for 2 Auto Bolt Storm Gauntlets and a Frag Storm Grenade Launcher on top. Again, these gauntlets are also melee and ranged, so the range part is range 18-inch, assault 3, strength 4, no AP and 1 damage. And of course you're having 2 of these. So you're getting a better range here over the Firestorm Gauntlets, and you're also guaranteeing yourself 6 shots as opposed to 2 lots of D6 random shots. The only drawback now is that this weapon doesn't auto hit, and you've got ballistic skill 3, so you're going to be missing on average 2 out of 6 of the shots. So I think I'd personally want the Flamestorm Gauntlets purely for the defensible capabilities, sitting on an objective and seeing if anyone will come and charge you, then of course overwatching them. The melee side of the weapon is pretty much identical to the previous, with the strength times 2, minus 3 AP and 2 damage, with the -1 to hit. So when you do swap these gauntlets over, you actually get a Frag Storm Grenade Launcher, which will cost you 5 points a man. So these are 18-inch range, assault D6, strength 4, no AP and 1 damage with the blast keyword. So another load of strength 4 shots here with no AP or damage. but at least this one has the blast keyword, so it has a little bit more reliability against those hordes. So there's plenty of Dakka coming out of your aggressor unit. So these guys have the feel of being parked on an objective due to their guns being quite short ranged. They're also pretty slow and don't have a deep strike ability like other units do, such as Terminators. You can get these in a repulsor, but only a max of 5 models can get in there, as they count as 2 models each due to their Gravis armour. The Repulsor Executioner can also transport them, but now you're only getting 3 in there, again due to their armour. Another way to deal with their speed would be to simply place them in strategic reserves, but if you go for a max unit of 6 of them, then it's going to cost you 2 CP due to the combined power level being over 9. Maybe you can bunch them up with another unit in strategic reserves, seeing as you're paid the CP for it anyway. So looking at a few chapters that will benefit nicely from having aggressors within the army. I mean, most chapters will benefit, of course. So first you got White Scars, and their chapter tactic is Lightning Assault. It gives you an army-wide ability to fall back and then charge, or advance and charge. And they also do not suffer the -1 to hit when advancing and firing assault weapons. So this will slightly aid with the speed that we spoke about, and also being able to move around and still shoot those assault weapons without that minus modifier. Imperial Fist has a chapter tactic called Siege Masters, and it simply removes the benefits of light cover for your opponent, and considering that your weapons don't have any AP, it could be quite important. The Ultramarines chapter tactic called Codex Discipline allows your army to fall back and then shoot, but at a -1 to hit. So it's quite handy if you get tied up in a huge horde unit, and those gauntlets aren't quite doing the job in melee because you've only got a few attacks, not clearing enough bodies out at once. The Salamander's tactic, Forged in Battle, allows you to reroll 1 wound roll for the unit per phase. And it also turns enemy -1 AP modifiers into no AP, which will help keeping your guys alive, especially considering they've got no invuln save. Shadow Masters, which is the Raven Guard chapter tactic, is more of a defensible ability, so it treats your unit as if you were in light cover if they were shot from more than 18 inches away. Also, if they're an infantry unit, which aggressors are, and you're in terrain, then you not only gain the benefits of light terrain, but you also gain dense terrain benefits, and this is provided that they're being shot at from more than 12 inches away. So again, adding to your durability for the unit. The last chapter worth mentioning here is the Black Templars. Their chapter tactic gives you a 5+ feel no pain against mortal wounds. So those smites and other faction related attacks will be ignored a third of the time. The chapter also allows you to reroll advance and charge rolls. If you want to go a bit more custom with your list, there's a few good successor chapter tactics worth mentioning. So Rapid Assault, which allows you to advance and fire without the -1 to hit penalty, quite like the White Scars tactics there. Stealthy, which gives you the light cover benefit if you've been shot from more than 18 inches away, which is a piece of the Raven Guard tactics there. Then Warded, which is quite like the Black Templar tactic, gives you that 5+ feel no pain against mortal wounds. So there's not really a huge amount that can really benefit your aggressors here, but as you can see there's a hint of each chapter within the successor chapter tactics. So it's more about how you want to blend rules together when applying it to your list as a whole. So before we go into their ratings, we should briefly talk through all the synergies that they got in the Codex with other HQs and whatnot. I mean, the obvious ones here are your captains that give you rerolls of 1s to hit for core units within 6 inches. All the captains have that built in. The lieutenants do the same thing, but it's rerolling 1s to wound rather than the hits. So this one's actually really good because strength 4 versus standard toughness 4 units will mean that you're going to be wounding them on 4s. So half those rolls are going to miss. So rerolling 1s at least get some back. All the types of chaplains have access to their litanies, and most of them will aid your aggressors in some way or another. The recitation of focus, for example, gives your aggressors a +1 to hit when firing ranged weapons. So that's a whole lot of Dakka now hitting on 2s. Apothecaries have their ability to heal wounds and also grant a 6+ feel no pain save, which is going to make your aggressors a lot more durable. So to summarise, a tidy amount of Dakka coming out from even a min squad of these guys. Unfortunately, they've lost their main ability since the last codex, so they used to be able to fire twice while remaining stationary, which was the main reason for taking them in the past. So they don't have that one anymore, I'm afraid. 3 wounds is quite decent for their stat line, and also with those auto-hitting weapons, you can camp on a backline objective, be quite resilient, and just be auto-hitting anything that comes near you. They don't have an invuln save, which is quite a letdown, especially when you compare them to other units within the elite options, such as Terminators, which are also quite multifunctional, being both ranged and melee. But they come with a 5+ invuln save. They've also got the deep strike ability as well. And they're roughly about the same points cost, and they can even go up to 10-man units too. I think I'd always want the Flamestorm gauntlets, just for the auto hits and the overwatch, especially against horde units. I mean, the current meta for 40k is Space Marine heavy, so I don't feel like these guns will do enough with the no AP and single damage on their datasheets. The tactical doctrine will slightly help you with a -1 AP in the second and third battle rounds, but I think at this stage I'd rather go with other units that have a bit more survivability, again the Terminators. Of course, if you're playing against a horde unit such as Tyranids or Orcs, then Aggressors all of a sudden are going to become king, as there's so much stacker there and you don't need any AP against 6-up saves. So as for their rating, I'm going to be giving the Aggressors a Planet 40k rating of 3.5 out of 5. Now I do these ratings compared to other units within their codex, not within the entirety of the whole 40k universe, so bear that in mind. I feel like before this codex was released they were well into the 4.5 out of 5 area, but that loss to their main ability was a serious nerf, because it removed so much stacker, and that used to even reliably kill other marine units, let alone hordes. So if everybody in the comments can do me a favour and just put down what they think between 0 and 5 for their rating, so we can all get a good measure of what the community thinks they should be overall, that would be awesome. So for those of you that are new to the channel, we're venturing into all the codex releases from the 40k universe. Necrons is where we began the journey, and we're slowly but surely moving into other factions such as Death Watch, Space Wolves and Blood Angels too. We still do dip our toes into the generic Space Marine reviews like we've done today, just to test the waters time to time. If you found the video useful, then please smash that thumbs up below, and remember to hit that subscribe button on the way out not to miss on any future content that we release. We are currently releasing reviews every Monday to Friday at 5:15 PM UK time. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.